So we gone over the standard vocations, we gone over the hybrid vocations, and one of the most important set of vocations are the advanced vocations currently found in the game. There are two sets of vocations, and knowing which vocation to pick is going to be extremely important because this particular vocations, not only are you able to use them, but you're also able to apply them to your pawns. Now, this is going to be extremely crucial because the pawns are going to be playing a fundamental role with your survivability when you're playing the game. So today we're going to go over these two vocations, the warrior and the sorcerer, talk about what their benefits are, talk about their skills, and also go ahead and a little bit in depth, talk about their playstyles and which do we feel are pawn worthy. So you like how that sounds? A like would be greatly appreciated, and let's go ahead and talk about it. So there are advanced vocations in the game that you will be able to unlock via a quest. Now, I'll have a video later on this week going on how to unlock them and what quest that is in order for you guys to unlock said vocations. Now, the great thing about these particular vocations is that once they're unlocked, you're able to go ahead and give them to your pawns. Because these vocations come with two really unique and unable to get any other way weapons. One is called the Greatsword, or the Hammer for the Warrior, or the Arcus Staff for the Sorcerer. In fact, you can accept both quests and return with each in order to unlock both vocations. Now, one thing you need to know about the game, you will be able to store weapons in your inventory that are not for your particular class, and then you're able to give these weapons to a different class whenever you decide to. So do keep that in mind. So let's get started with the first class, which is going to be the warrior vocation, and this is going to be a very interesting one because this vocation has no need for the fighter shields, because it's going to rely primarily on their very heavy armor. And they're going to be super robust that this is going to allow them to carry any sort of damage through combat. While they're not as tanky as the fighter class, the warrior class actually makes up for the massive amount of damage it's able to output. So you're sacrificing a little bit of tank, but you're compensating it with doing a ton of damage. The warriors are going to specialize in fighting with two-handed weapons and getting rid of the shield, so you'll be able, guys, to, kind of do more damage without having a shield because you're going to be using a two-handed weapon. And this is where the weapons that I mentioned come into play. The great sword is going to be extremely powerful, or you go full-on deck hammer mode like Hammer Time and pick up the hammer. You'll be able to charge up your attack to land powerful single blows that will bring all the monsters down to the knees. As a warrior, you'll also be able to uniquely level up skills, which will allow you to attack multiple enemies with one single weapon. Additionally, in the original game, the warrior could also provide crowd control by hitting enemies in one single stun. So a very not super tanky class. Is still a little bit tanky because it has really heavy armor. But the main reason you're probably going to want to go warrior is if you want to do the most amount of damage when using a character. The next advanced vocation is the sorcerer vocation. Once again, the sorcerer vocation comes in clutch. So if you like mage, this is definitely the vocation you're going to want to pick. But it's going to be very important that you pay attention to the video on who I believe should be the pawn out of both of these vocations. So choosing the sorcerer vocation, it's going to take your magic or your mage onto a whole new level. Okay, it's going to specialize on range magic attack. So once again, very similar to running with a mage, you're going to be able to keep your distance but do a ton of damage. Now, one thing that this particular vocation specializes in is in the ability of doing damage to a large area of effect. Now, the reason being is because he's going to have to use both hands to channel the arcane energy through a very large staff. Now, one thing to keep in mind is if you're going to be using this particular ability is that he does take a little bit longer to charge up the energy. As you guys already know, we talked a little bit this about when we went over the mage preview, is the fact that when you're charging up your magic spells, you are a little bit vulnerable to hits. So it's going to be extremely important that if you decide to go the sorcerer route, that you remember that the charging time for the actual magic to be dished out, it's going to take a little bit of while. So you're going to want to make sure you do these at a distance. But guys, it's going to be extremely, extremely powerful when clearing a multitude of enemies. All right, it's super potent and very effective. Now, you do have to keep in mind, guys, just very similar to the other classes that we've talked about, you're going to have to level these up, and the Sorcerer has some really cool ability, like core skills that are going to allow him to do a lot of really cool stuff, like levitate and do a ton of damage when it comes to conjuring these type of attacks. Now, I guess here's the very important question. Out of all of these that we're talking about, which ones do I feel like should be like your number one priority when going to decide to make a pawn, right? I personally feel, guys, if you guys are running with a class that you feel is super tanky, I think the Sorcerer is the best route due to the fact that he's going to provide so much area of effect damage that it's going to clear a ton of the area for you and allow you to mitigate so much damage. I think that is like the ideal pawn for you to have and carry through. If imagine the amount of damage you're going to be able to output while you're in the fight and the amount of damage the Sorcerer is able to do as a pawn from a distance. I think this is what's going to make the Sorcerer stand out of these two vocations. Even though the Warrior class seems pretty OP, I still think the Sorcerer would be the best option when applying it to a pawn. But I want to know from you guys. Let me know in the comments section down below. What do you guys think is the one that you're going to go for first in the comments section down below. I hope you guys are enjoying our Dragon Dogma 2 content. If you are, do me a huge favor, guys. Drop a comment, drop a like. But most importantly, subscribe to the channel. Turn those notifications so you guys won't miss when our videos go live. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.